Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending our introduction to Find Your Place at Mace. Before we begin the presentation, I wanted to just introduce yourself to the speakers today. So my name is Jude Brennan. I am the Apprenticeship Programme Manager, and you will be hearing from my colleague Anita Patel and Oliver Ducey. In terms of today's agenda, as you can see, we will kick off with giving you some information about Mace, who we are, and you'll be hearing from myself and Anita. You will then hear from some current apprentices here at Mace who will give you some information in terms of their day-to-day role, how they're finding their apprenticeship and some top tips for you. And then you'll hear from our colleague Oliver who will tell you some information regarding the application process and some tips. So, in order for us to begin, first of all, I wanted to let you know about our purpose. Here at Mace, we have a purpose which is to redefine the boundaries of ambition. This is the reason why we do what we do, and it's the reason why we exist. It's what drives us forward. It's how we create an enduring legacy into this world. And our purpose acts as a guide to our people, shaping how we perform and the decisions we make. We recognise ambition in all its forms, so at Mace, our clients, partners, suppliers, and in our communities.
We are living out our purpose through 3 strategic priorities: pursue a sustainable world, grow together, and deliver a distinctive value. Our unwavering focus on these 3 strategic priorities grounds our purpose in the action we take every day.
So, moving on to how we achieve our purpose that Anita just mentioned earlier, we focus on our priorities and the way we deliver them, and that's through our values and our behaviours. So you can find out more information on our values and behaviours via the Mace website, but think about which one resonates with you. We now have over 8,000 colleagues working for Mace, and each individual who works at Mace fosters this culture and implements ideas in helping us make a difference. So if you feel like these kind of values resonate with yourself and you want to find out more, visit our website and you can have a look at what kind of positions we have available to apply for the future.
We are a global consultant in program and project delivery and construction experts. We help lead the way to a more connected, resilient, and sustainable future. Through our 2 business engines, Consult and Construct, we bring to life iconic skyscrapers, state-of-the-art data centres, life science facilities, social infrastructures, and regeneration projects that support communities across the world.
And as you can see, we work across a wide range of markets. I won't read through every single one of these, but you can see that these kind of markets cover a wide span, and we find a way to unleash the potential within every place, project and person, inspiring the stories that shape our lives and change our world, because the ambitions we chase today will build the world we live in tomorrow. And we're very big on sustainability and make sure that we incorporate these into the projects that we work on across the types of markets. As you can see, we will have a slide later on with a QR code that you're able to scan, so you get to see some real life projects that we have worked on. And also, again, I would refer you back to the Mace website, which we can put in the chat in order for you to have a little bit more information on terms of the projects, the scale and size of them, and you can see the end results.
Here at Mace, we have Mace Employee Resource Groups. So there are 6 in total. We have Ethnic Diversity at Mace, Mace Military Network, Pride at Mace, Enabled at Mace, Parents at Mace, and lastly, Women at Mace. Everyone is welcome to get involved with any or as many resource groups as they wish, and joining these groups is very much encouraged to help champion equality and inclusion at Mace and beyond.
So here at Mace, we have a 4-year apprenticeship programme, and it's aimed at school and college leavers starting in early September. We've got a range of different types of apprenticeships from level 3 to level 6, including support with your professional membership dependent on your role. The entry requirements for our programmes is 5 GCSE grades 4 or /C and above, including maths and English. You will also require a minimum of 96 UCAS points. However, for some of the roles, you may require a higher number, and Ollie will cover this shortly in terms of the application process.
Here you can see a number of typical apprenticeship disciplines that Mace recruits. We are available across different sectors of the business and locations. We recruit based on the business demand, so we cannot guarantee that all these positions will be available at the time of applying. UCAS requirements are set by the universities or training providers as their own minimum requirements. So please make sure that you have read the job description carefully before you start your application, as this will state the requirements required for these individual roles.
On our programme, you'll receive one-to-one support from your line manager, mentors, buddies, industry professionals, and also the emerging talent team. And this one-to-one support will not only be received at the beginning of the programme, but will be available throughout all 4 years that you remain on the emerging talent scheme with us. In addition, we have a range of networking opportunities which will allow you to collaborate with your peers and senior management through our events such as team building. We have a structured development programme throughout all 4 years with a range of interactive development sessions, both behavioural and technical, which is delivered in a blended approach. So you'll have some sessions that are online via Zoom, and then you'll also have some sessions that are in person. You'll also have support with your professional membership, which takes place towards the end of your apprenticeship. For example, it might be that you're construction manager going into CIOB, or a quantity surveyor, which would be achieving your RICS. In your day-to-day, you will have exposure to work in challenging and rewarding environments throughout the programme, and there is access to wider initiatives such as volunteering and fundraising opportunities, which will allow you to expand your network. So I'm now going to move on to introduce you to some of our apprentices that are on the programme. Firstly, I would like to introduce you to Sally.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Jude said, my name is Sally Apaku. I am a project management apprentice in the consult engine of the business. I'm currently based in London, so I'm at the head office in Moorgate. My role is a project assistant currently. I work in the private sector, also known as the commercial sector, in manufacturing and technology projects. Current projects that I work on are the BMW account, so I work on various projects with them, and Siemens Mobility. With Siemens Mobility, Siemens Mobility is a train facility and also transport company as well. They are doing a train facility to make trains for TfL, and we are currently helping and assisting them in the test tracks and also in general fit out of the actual facility inside. This is based in East Yorkshire, Gaul. With BMW, one of the projects that I am on with them is the roofing project. Currently, their mini plant based in Oxford is over 100 years old. So we have been taking off the roofs and then reinstalling new ones that are up to good standard and prevent leaks from getting into the cars in the main facility. I started on BMW the roof project in June. So as I started, they are currently doing their final roof and are about to complete by March. My journey to Mace, I started in 2023 in September. So I'm the part of the 2023 cohort. I came straight from sixth form and I did A levels in business, music, and drama. And I'm currently studying a degree in construction management at University College of Estate Management. I did work experience at CPC Project Services. They are I would say a smaller Mace. Whereas Mace is international, I would say CPC is more national based. But through a week of experience, and I was able to shadow project managers and to see what the consult side of construction has to offer. Initially, when I heard of construction and when it came to apprenticeships, I was like, no, because I didn't really want to be on site all the time. But the consult engine allows you to be on site, but also to have the office lifestyle that some people do want. Um, so if that's something you are interested in, like working in construction, but the being on site part kind of steers you away, look into the consultancy side of it. I would recommend doing that. I chose Mace for many reasons. I wanted to work at a company that, especially a construction company, that wasn't harming the environment around us. I am very mindful and cautious about things that are happening in our environment and wanted to work for a company that wasn't negatively impacting it. Mace is net carbon zero, so I felt comfortable and confident working at a company that was not harming the environment. Also, being Black and a woman in construction, which is normally white male dominated, I did feel a bit taken aback. But there are many resource groups, like Anita mentioned, like Women at Mace and Ethnic Diversity at Mace, which allow there to be representation in the business and also awareness on different aspects and ways of life. So I felt comfortable working in a company that did support my characteristics that I can't control. And also in my terms of my development, I wanted to work for a company that actually did support my development, not just put you to the side and just tell you to make coffees all the time. Mace got rated top 20 in the Rate My Apprenticeship. So I knew that working in a company like that, I was going to have a lot of success. But more on my experience. So what do I actually get up to as an apprentice at Mace? So I do a lot. Sometimes I get to go on site, not as much as I would say someone in construct does, because they're more based on site. Um, I'm able to go on site walks for my own projects, but since they're far away, not as much. I'm able to also, within the emergent talent, there is a lot of promotion on site visits. So sometimes I'm able to head off to someone else's site and to see what's going on their site and learn a few things about what's happening on their project. I tend to take minutes for meetings and distribute out actions and communications for the project to ensure that everything is going well. Document management, this is something I do a lot of. So between our client portals and our shared drives, making sure the right documentation, contracts, JCT contracts, extension of time documents, all of those things are being uploaded and are correct onto both portals. Tender processes, this is where the client and the consult PM will interview contractors to see which one is the best suited for the project. I've been able to be on a couple tender processes and to actually see what it's like and what contractors actually say. I was able to review their proposals and to see which one was the best suited. And after we do that, we give a recommendation to the client and give them advice on who they would pick for the project. Business development and client management, working on capture plans and customer relationship management plans. These just ensure that the clients we are working with, they are in line with what Mace has to offer. And also, if it comes to a point where we don't know how we can work with them, these plans actually help us to meet in the middle so that more work can can commence despite what side of the business they are in. Change management, I do a lot of this on Siemens. We have a change management process, and on that, just ensuring that the facilities manager is streamlining quotes and making sure change requests are being formed. Also, formulating employers' agent instructions with cost consultants on other projects as well. And volunteering days, as you can see in the top left corner, I was able to go to Brighton with a few other colleagues to do a beach cleanup one nice sunny day. So Mace does promote, our social value and social impact across other things, not only working 9 to 5, but also giving back to other people around us. I've also been able to do other garden cleanups and graveyard cleanups as well. So that's my experience so far at Mace, and I'm now going to hand over to Zainab for her journey.
Hi everyone, my name is Zainab Abbas and I work in the work winning department of the consult side of the business. I'm based in London and the sector I usually work in is property. Now, I do something called bidding, which not many people know of and it's not really heard of. It's a bit of a different career pathway to usual project management or construction management. Now, bidding essentially is winning work and winning projects for the business. So a client would come into the market, say that they want project management services or construction management services or like digital services. They'd put out a tender into the market and a lot of companies would then bid for that project so that they win it for their company. So my role is supporting our creation of these proposals that we then send to the client, and then the client chooses who they would want to go to, and if we get picked, we get the project and we hand over to the delivery team. So my role is kind of like a mixture of project management, sales, development, and a bit of marketing. So if you see all of these logos on the page, these are some of the clients that I've personally worked on bids for. So as you can see, in such a short span, there's so many different clients. So if you're someone who gets quite bored quickly or like wants constant change and likes that adrenaline rush of tight deadlines, then bidding would definitely be for you. A bit about my journey. So I'm a third year apprentice at Mace now. I finished A-levels in 2022 and that September I joined Mace as an apprentice. My A-levels were in business geography and psychology, and I also did an EPQ, which is like an extended project qualification, for which I did like a little painting and I got an A star on, which is great. So when I started my apprenticeship at Mace, I started as a level 3 apprentice. So I did a level 3 bids and proposals course, which was around like 18 months. So I started it and then finished and then got a distinction for it. And the good thing about Mace is that they're always looking to help you develop your career and your qualifications. So I asked, can I move on to doing a degree now? And my manager said yeah, and the emerging talent team said yeah. So it wasn't that I just did a level 3 and I stopped. They want to see like me continuously to improve my skills. So I decided to do a chartered management degree. I started in March 2024 and I finished the level 4 element and now I'm moving on to level 5. Now, 1 year ago, outside of Mace, I decided to create my own networking community, which is aimed at Asians and Arabs, young professionals in any industry, any field, any company. The networking community is called the Asian Arab Network, and the reason why I created it, along with 2 other founders, was because we wanted to increase the representation of Asians and Arabs in the working professional world. And so now we have just under 2,000 members in 1 year, which is a great achievement. And another thing is that just the end of last month, I actually went to an awards ceremony for the West London Business Awards, and I won highly highly commended Apprentice of the Year 2025, which I felt like was a great achievement as well. So you might be wondering, why did I choose Mace? Why should you choose Mace? Well, first of all, is that Mace is a global company. A lot of apprentices that I've spoken to so far, outside of Mace, they've been like, oh, I feel so stuck in my role and I feel like I'm just stuck in this country and I have nowhere to go. But with Mace, because they're a global company, it's like as soon as you step foot into this company, you're exposed to not just the UK, but the entire world. You speak to people in all different teams across Mace, in America, the Middle East, everywhere, which is so good for you and to build your network. And another thing is, after your apprenticeship program, if you wanted to move to a project abroad, then it's so much easier than for if you were in a company that isn't global, which was a huge benefit to me. Another thing is project portfolio. So when I was researching Mace, I found that they've worked on so many cool projects like the Shard, even the London Eye when it was first made. So all of these things like excited me. I was like, I would actually join a company where I can make a difference and play a part in creating some of the world's best landmarks. And then the next one is the values and their mission. As you saw from Jude's slide earlier, we have a lot of priorities, we have a lot of values, and a lot of behaviors that we like to follow. And compared to other companies within the construction industry, I felt like I resonate most with Mace values, so I felt like it was the best option for me. So just a bit about like what I've been up to is attending industry events like the London Build Expo. The Mace Emerging Talent team does a lot of events like the awards events and then team building days, which I got to go to. And another thing is representing Mace at school career fairs. So when I was at school, I didn't hear much about apprenticeships. I kind of had to step out on my own, find and discover ways how I can join a big company, but it wasn't as accessible as it is now. And I want to play a part in sort of educating young people and making them understand how apprenticeships are so beneficial. So, and then the last thing would be organizing events for my own networking community, which is for the Asian Arab Network, and supporting diversity and inclusion. That's it from me. Pass it on to Callum.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all well. Just wanted to say congratulations to any of you who've just completed your A levels, and good luck to any of you who will be starting. I'm not type sure what ages specifically we've got in here. But my name's Callum Cooper. I'm a project management degree apprentice who's in the construct engine. I'm currently working in Birmingham, as many of you can probably tell from my accent. And the project I am working on is HS2 Curzon Street Station. Specifically on a day-to-day, my role will entail assisting in the delivery of the piling package, which is essentially, for those of you who don't know, putting big piles of cement into the ground to create a stable foundation. And obviously we're the principal contractors for the client who is HS2. So there is a lot of pressure on day-to-day delivering distinctive value to the clients, always making sure that you uphold Mace's standards while dealing with various different subcontractors. But I think the hardest part about the job is knowing when you go home, when to reset, and kind of in the working day, being in construct, I feel like from going out on site, going in the office, the workload can get very heavy. So it's important to kind of keeping your work life away from your outside of work life, your social life, just creating that fine balance and making sure that your brain's refreshed and you've got a healthy mindset for work the next day. So in terms of initially my role, I didn't see myself going into the project management role. I did see myself going into maybe a quantity surveyor role because of my love for maths. But I feel like project management has suited me a lot better, even more than quantity surveying would have, because of my leadership skills and communication skills that I feel like I've learned from playing through football days and stuff. And the communication really is an important part of of a project manager. You're constantly coordinating things between different groups, different departments, and a project management role is really, focus driven towards a client and making sure everybody's on board and got clarity with the same project. In terms of my journey, I finished A levels in August 2023. So although you might think I've been at Mace for 2 years now, I actually haven't. I joined in September 2024. This is because I went to University of Liverpool for 7 months. And I think it's really integral me kind of sharing this story with a lot of you, because as younger people kind of say, well, once you go down that one path, once you make that choice, that's it. There's no going back. For me, that wasn't the case. There was unforeseen circumstances in January last year, which essentially meant that I had to leave university. But I always say to younger people, don't let one path define where you want to be. If you're not enjoying something, or you find yourself you could be enjoying something better on a different path, then always just go with what your heart tells you. Because I can say from my personal anecdotes and my experiences that it's paid off really well. Because like I say, I did 7 months at University of Liverpool, and then I landed this degree apprenticeship with Mace, working in Birmingham, and I've loved it ever since. So my study entails Southern City College, Birmingham, every Wednesday, which is once a week, and that'll be for 2 years. That's getting my level 4 H&C, kind of just teaching me about all things on site. I know there's a lot of people in chat talking about plumbing and groundworks, and if people are very interested in that and wanting to get better and develop your skills at that, then construct is a very ideal place for you to be. Just because of the fact of you get that level 4 H&C and all the experience that comes with it from working down on site and obviously studying in college. But then afterwards, in the next 3 years, you will study at Aston University. Well, that's what I'm doing. So you get a really good apprenticeship program. Kind of that 1 day of study a week synchronizes so well with what I'm doing in a day to day, because it's kind of like there's a lot of synonymous learning between the two, which I'm very grateful for. But the reasons why I chose Mace is because it's in a market which is not just the market is fast growing, but also Mace. It just seems to me like Mace has that upper edge on a lot of businesses in the industry in terms of keeping projects and delivering that distinctive value to the client. And you can tell that through the absolute size of some of the projects that we're working on. I mean, like I say, HS2 Golden Street project, it's an honour to work on it, because I feel like the UK has been crying out for a development in the transportation industry for years now. And finally, we're hopefully going to be able to get that over the line. For those of you who don't know what HS2 is, it's a high-speed train from Birmingham to London, which is going to get from Birmingham to London in 49 minutes, and should hopefully help out with some traffic and stuff. Also, the excellent opportunities for young people. Now, this is a big thing for me working at Mace. It's the way they deliver to the younger people, whereas a lot of companies will prioritize the people who are just delivering productivity and efficiency for the job, whereas Mace is thinking about the future. And I feel like Zainab and Sally were both saying, Mace is one of those companies that drives its young people on, because they're focused on the future and how our generations is going to drive the construction industry forward. So I do feel like Mace is a massively beneficial company to be at if you wanted to join on an apprenticeship program. Just a few experiences of what I do on a day to day. So some unforgettable memories that I won't forget is site walk with the mayor of Birmingham when he came to visit the site. I feel like that level of etiquette that you're meeting people of that sort of nature is, it's different from what you'd get in the day to day with normal life. And I feel like it makes you get that professional nature to yourself. It teaches you about how to be a real role model and how to carry yourself. And then also presenting at a town hall in front of 200 people. Now, for those of you who don't know, a town hall is a monthly gathering between me and the rest of my colleagues on the project, where we'll all come together, all the subcontractors and all the people in the office, and we'll all combine into one town hall. And I actually got to speak about not under or over promising to different people, different colleagues, and that was a really good experience. And then also the social side of things, the football five-a-side tournament for charity, representing Mace Birmingham, and that was just an unforgettable experience because that was 2 weeks into my start at Mace, and instantly I found connections that will be there for life, hopefully, and that's what I feel like on my project as well. So I can only encourage you to embark on the apprenticeship program, and I wish you all well for the future. I'm now going to pass over to Ollie, I believe.
Brilliant, thanks Callum. So hi everyone, my name's Ollie. I currently lead on the recruitment of apprentices at Mace. So I'm just going to talk you through some top tips, our recruitment process, any vacancies we've got live. So to kick off, in terms of applying, we are looking for a strong understanding and genuine interest in a career in the built environment at Mace and for your chosen role. We're also looking for people who embody the same values and behaviours as us. And do remember that first impressions count. This is the first time that we're going to get to know you. So it's a big opportunity to sell yourself and demonstrate your skills, knowledge and motivation. Consider your answers fully. We want to get to know you as much as possible and see that you've put some thought into your application. Make sure you ask plenty of insightful questions related to your research and what you're looking for in a company. This will come across well and you'll learn more about whether we're the right company for you. And most importantly, be yourself. So if I just transition to our recruitment process. So this is our current recruitment process. It usually stays the same each year. Just one thing to bear in mind, we do recruit on a rolling basis, which means we don't have set deadlines. So the earlier you apply, the stronger your chances will be. If we receive sufficient applications for one role, we will close it there and then. So we go live each September with applications for all of our programs. So you'll submit an application form with your personal details, your qualifications, and a bit of a reason of why you want to apply to this role. If you're successful there, we'll pop you through to a video interview. So this is a pre-recorded video interview, so it's one way. It's not actually with anyone. And it's going to ask you 5 questions, and you can just showcase your strengths and ambitions. And you can complete this at a time and a place that suits you, and you do have a 5-day window to do this. So if we spot potential in your video interview, we put you through to an assessment centre. So this is virtual, which is similar to the video interview. You don't have to travel anywhere. You can do it anywhere you like, which is nice. And it consists of 3 stages. So it consists of an individual interview where we'll go through a series of questions with you to get to know your strengths in relation to our Mace behaviours, competencies and values. You'll then have a group exercise. So you'll take part as a team with the other candidates on the call. And you'll take part in an interactive fictional activity where we'll be looking at how you collaborate with and influence others. And then finally, we'll move on to a case study presentation. So for this task, you'll be given some data to explore, and we'll ask you to prepare a recommendation to present back to an assessor. And if you are successful at our assessment centre, we will then make you an offer to come and join the programme the following September. And then we'll be hosting some pre-joiner events and that sort of thing in between. So you get to meet your cohort and your team ahead of your start date, which is nice. So if I can just, whilst we're here, just talk through some of the roles that we have available. We have actually shut quite a few of our roles this year already due to really high demand. So currently we have open a health, safety and wellbeing role in Heathrow, a cost consultancy, which quantity surveying role in Leeds, construction MEP role based in Reading, and then another 2 construction MEP roles, one based in Oxford and one based in Cambridge. So if I just move on to my final slide, just in terms of application information, to find out more and apply, you can visit our website at that link. I'll also paste the link into the chat after my section, just so you can easily access it. As I said before, we do recruit on a rolling basis, which means we don't have set deadlines. So the earlier you apply, the stronger your chance will be. And we can only consider 1 application per year per candidate. So please only submit 1 application to your chosen role. And if additional roles of 2025 open in the coming months, you can request for your application to be transferred. And if at any point you need reasonable adjustments to be made, or if you have any questions at all, you can email us at the emerging.talent@macegroup.com inbox, and myself or a colleague will get back to you. You can also scan that QR code there to register your interest in any new opportunities. So thank you. I'll hand back to Jude.
Thank you very much, Ollie, for that. and to our apprentices. We have had a question in the chat which I'd like to read out and ask Sally, Zainab and Callum to give some advice and answer. If you do have any other questions, please do pop it in the chat or Q&A function throughout, and we'll answer those as we do have some extra time left. But the question I would like to pass over to our current apprentices is that I'm curious about how you adjusted to the transition from being a student to a full-time employee while balancing work and education. How did you find the shift from having long academic breaks to only having annual leave? Was it difficult to come to terms with? And do you have any advice for managing that change? So really excellent question. If we kick off with Zainab.
Yeah, sure. That is a really good question, and short answer would be yeah, it's difficult, but it's worth it if, in a sense. So when I first joined, obviously the shift is crazy. Like going from school where you're told every little detail what to do, you're like managed all the time, you have someone to go to all the time. When you come into working, it's like you get this level of independence, but you have to just explore opportunities and like come up with solutions and do things yourself. It is a big change, and to be honest, we're all still adjusting. Like I'm a third year apprentice, but I'm still adjusting with the balance. I think the best advice would be just to plan out your time when you start joining an apprenticeship. Your uni work can get a lot quite quickly. um it would be like nothing for 1 second and then full like you've missed 5 lectures, but it's all about balance. So make sure you stay on top of your uni work. You'd get a dedicated day every week for this. So I have Fridays off for my university, so I tend to do all my uni work on that day. And then with work, I'd say plan out your time. So use the calendars in your Outlook, use a diary, just plan out your time, not too much where you get a bit like stuck, but enough with some room to go around. And it's all about just maintaining that balance. And one thing I would say is work-life balance is very important as well. Um, when you first join, you might feel like, oh, you have to stay till a certain time and you have to put in all your work, and after hours you have to work as well. But you need to learn how to say like you have different priorities, and um, just make sure you have the work-life balance. Speak to your family, go out with friends after work, and like join extracurricular activities. A big thing for me was social life. When you join, a lot of your friends would be at university, but you'd be working full time, so your diaries and stuff don't really match. And then that made me venture out into attending networking events and then eventually creating my own community. So I think it's just about balance. But yeah, Callum, do you wanna give some of your
Yeah,
advice?
I mean, I was just gonna say, so I go study 1 day a week every Wednesday. But it's the first week I joined this job, my manager said straight away to me, Callum, if you're gonna thrive in this industry, it's about, like I said in my piece earlier, forgetting about work when you go home. And on that study day, you don't want to be doing any type of work related stuff. It's all about study. And if you separate your days into that, where you've got one dedicated day to study, and say you had to do a 10,000 word essay, and every week of that study day you got 500 words done, you're eventually making progress. Whereas on that Wednesday, if you're constantly thinking about work, you're not got that fine balance. But I also think it's, Mace, and I'm sure there's other companies out there which are have a culture of openness and honesty. And I'm sure if, say, your workload was very heavy, you could speak to them and kind of say about how work needed to be delegated, or, because people prefer honesty and being open, and that they'll value that way much more than you giving them a task back that you said you were going to do 2 weeks ago. Or so I just feel like it's about, if you're in a workplace, it's got that culture of transparency and honesty, and that understanding, that mutual understanding, then you'll thrive. But personally, I thrive under that responsibility and that independence, and because that always was what I yearned for in school, that giving that responsibility and wanting to make a difference, and giving yourself that pat on the back, because it's nobody else that's done that for you. If you achieve something in this kind of role, it's from your own merit. So all I can say is you will eventually find that balance that works for you. Um, but yeah, it's just about being open and honest at the same time. Sally?
Yeah, I normally get my line manager to hold me accountable on the work that I have to do on my study day. Sometimes, for me, my university, everything's online. You don't actually physically go in, but you do get one day dedicated. Sometimes, life can get the best of you. You might get an email that's like really quick. Oh, let me just do that. Then another one will come, or the email will just follow up. Now you've spent like 3 hours of your study day doing work rather than actually doing your uni work. So yeah, as Zainab and Callum did say, balance is so important, and also prioritizing, understanding that you are an apprentice, you are allowed to do your uni work. Sometimes my line manager would even like not give me too much work to do or take on work that I'm meant to do so that I'm able to also hit those deadlines and get things done. Yeah, having a good balance and using your annual leave wisely, like book that holiday. Sometimes, like even tomorrow, I'm going up to Nottingham to see some of my friends at uni. Book annual leave, take breaks, and yeah, the first few weeks are probably like a lot. You got a lot of inductions, meeting your team. They probably are a bit tiring, but I would say over time you kind of just get used to it. And seeing my friends at uni and knowing where I am now, I'm really happy that I did an apprenticeship. So yeah.
Thanks for that. And we have had another question where they're interested in finding out how far in advance did you apply to join the apprenticeship, and are you able to give a bit of an overview on how you found the actual application process as well, and if you've got any tips? I know Zainab saying your third year apprentice, it was quite a while ago now, but if you do remember the process, any tips and advice and when you applied would be really helpful.
Yeah. So should I start with this then?
Yeah, go
Um,
for it if you want.
so yeah, I am a third year apprentice. It's been a bit of a while since I've applied. But I started in the beginning of the month, of like October, and then I researched the company, made all these different notes, seen what works, what would be good in the application, and then I did my application. I think one piece of advice I would give is speak to people and use LinkedIn. These days, LinkedIn is very powerful, and you'd get a lot of insight into different roles, different industries, different types of people. So that is a very powerful tool. And back then, I didn't use it, but I know because it's getting even more competitive now to get into an apprenticeship, I would definitely suggest that you should reach out to people and speak to them, learn about what you could include in these applications, and yeah.
Yeah, so my answer to the question, I mean, so I came out of university in February last year, um, and I didn't start until September last year. So I suppose that, what was it, 6 month, 5 month window was difficult in terms of just wanting to get started, and that wait. But I did find myself some temporary work at the time just to keep me ticking over. But it just made that feeling of when starting in September, I felt like I was even more ready to start, and because of the wait had been so long, it made me more excited to start it. Um, but in terms of, I came out of uni and I didn't want to just get part-time jobs here and there and just keep ticking over. I wanted to, kind of get on something that my future was going to go towards and get my foot in the door somewhere, and finally prove myself. And I feel like that's what every young person's got to aim and achieve to want to do, proving themselves, because we've all got so much ability and potential. And as young people, they can kind of, shy away from industries like this in construction. I know Sally was saying earlier, it's a real, a male, seen as this male dominated industry, where, but we've seen numbers recently, a lot more women are coming into the industry, a lot more younger people. And it just shows how the industry is moving so fast, and that differentiating of people offers now different perspectives and a different kind of angle to business. So yeah, I feel like when I joined in September, it was a long wait, but worth it. Worth the wait, I'd say.
Brilliant, thank you. And I think just a final question before we wrap up. Could each of you just summarise how you prepared for your first day starting in a corporate job and how you found your first day? So just a bit of an overview of, you know, was it welcoming, who were you introduced to, etc. So Sally, if you want to start off.
Okay, so the first 2 days we were at the West Ham Stadium for inductions. So I was able to meet the whole cohort, grads and apprentices, all across the UK. So that was really nice. I think it was really good to like meet people, especially the people in London. You know, you're going to see them in the office a lot more. So we had those inductions for 2 days, and then the first actual day in the office. Um, yeah, I was able to meet the wider team, like who was actually in my sector, my department, and also meet my actual team who I'll be working with, like my line manager. Yeah, I felt very supported, very surrounded. Like everyone was asking you questions, like getting to know a bit more about you. Like everyone was very interested. Um, I would say to prepare. I don't know. I prepared my outfits for the week, and then like my bag, but there wasn't really anything in it 'cause I didn't have my laptop. So yeah, Zainab, Callum, any of you guys can go.
Zainab, do you want me to jump in on this? Yeah, so I mean, luckily for me, I held about 3 weeks before I started a little online interview with my soon to be line manager. And although I got that, you know, don't take the mickey out of me kind of vibe from him, it was still that he was going to foster me, he was going to empower me to be a better person at work. So that kind of eased it when I got to work on the first day. But other than that, it was just kind of adjusting from university clothing to wearing suits and and blazers and whatnot. But yeah, I thrived, like I said, in that kind of position because it made me feel that element of professionalism and you know it makes you feel like the person you wanted to be in terms of working in a corporate atmosphere and meeting all new people from the job and so many different opinions and perspectives. But yeah, met some great people on the project so far, and I'm sure a lot of you will in the future going forward as well.
Yeah, for me, if I'm honest, it was very scary to first join. Um, I never worked a day in my life. So I was just at school, did my A levels, didn't have any part-time job. I did some work experience in like different law firms and different companies, but that was mostly online as well because of COVID. So when I joined Mace, it was my first time ever being in such a professional corporate environment, meeting so many people on the first day. And to be honest, it was quite overwhelming at first. But when I began speaking to these people, I saw that they're just there to help and they're just there to support. And they were so nice and welcoming. Now, at first, you might feel like, oh, should I really be here? Yeah, you really should because it's a process. Like, you're gonna join, you're gonna feel scared, you're gonna feel nervous because that's just how it works. But you can trick your mind into thinking as excited instead of nervous. And to be honest, they'll all be worth it. Like at the beginning, yeah, you'll feel all these different things, but then when you get used to it, you'll feel more comfortable with your team members, different apprentices, different grads, and build your own sort of network within the company. I think having a good relationship with your line manager is very important because they're there at every step of the way throughout your journey, and to be able to have those open conversations and having honesty between each other is really important. So I would say you're gonna feel scared, it's inevitable, but it's just how you deal with it, how you process it, and how you understand that you're meant to be there. You're meant to grow as a person. You're meant to grow in your career, and you're gonna get imposter syndrome because it's real, like it's a reality, like it happens to everyone. But just know the value you bring as a person and what you're there for and what your aim is in life, and then it'll be all okay.
Thank you very much for that. That was really useful and some great advice that each of you have given. It's lovely to hear about your experiences as well. I hope that everybody on this call has found that useful. If you do have any follow-up questions for any of us today that you've heard from, we will get back to you. These slides can be sent to you as well for you to review, and you're able to see the types of apprenticeships that we do have on offer currently and those that we will have on offer in the future. So do remember that although we might not have an opportunity right now, there will be future opportunities. And remember just to keep an eye on Mace. As Zainab mentioned earlier on, LinkedIn is a really good tool to use. Our jobs are advertised on LinkedIn as well as our own website. So before we close, I would like to just share a QR code. If you would like to scan this, you're able to experience some of Mace projects in augmented reality. So I'll leave this slide up for a few moments for you to scan. Any questions that we have not answered, as I mentioned, we will follow up with you after this call. But thank you very much for attending today, and we wish you all the best.